Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. I'm Vilbert D, and I'm going to spell Avengers Endgame, so turn back! This is Phil on Films.
We're the Avengers. We can bust arms dealers all the livelong day, but that up there, that's the Endgame. How are you guys planning on beating that? Together.
Alright, so we're gonna talk about Avengers Endgame because the last video I posted, which I shot myself, felt really stupid. I want to stop dancing around my issues with the film, which I did end up liking in the end. I just want to talk about what I think the implications of this story are and where it fails. First off, time travel. This time travel is a very dangerous thing to introduce into your movie, into any story, but into a cinematic universe where there are world-ending crises all the time. This becomes an issue. If there is a mechanism that you can use over and over again to go back in time and fix things, even if your timeline isn't particularly volatile as they introduce in this film, there are issues because it really lowers the stakes of everything. But okay, given that time travel might be a viable narrative way to get to the issues that they needed to address from Infinity War, it just isn't very interesting.
I think if it were exposed to a sufficiently powerful energy source, its molecular integrity could fail.
Yeah, and you with it. We're not having this conversation.
Eliminating the stone is the only way to be certain that Thanos can't get it.
The whole idea that was introduced in this series of films is that the Avengers aren't able to go far enough to defeat a villain like Thanos. What we learned from Infinity War was that maybe they had to sacrifice Vision earlier. Maybe they had to make that tough choice in order to save the entire universe.
Dormammu, I come to bargain.
Time travel feels like a shortcut. It's a detour away from the larger thematic story of these Avengers having to deal with a villain that is more convinced of his beliefs than they are and is thus able to destroy them. There's a lot of talk about other time travel films, and they even rattle off a list of them in the movie, and it's funny. It doesn't feel consequential. In fact, they make it so that it isn't consequential. They really hammer on the point that changing things in the past won't have any real consequences for the present. And that feels sloppy and dangerous. It doesn't point to real growth for these characters. They're just who they are again. They're still not making the tough choices that would come from having experienced what they did. And again, having said that, I enjoyed this movie. I think it was fun when the women of Marvel came in at the battle. I was genuinely moved by the choices that Tony Stark made in the end. It almost feels like those moments exist in isolation and not in a grander picture of what these two movies are supposed to be painting. Also, the Captain America thing, his ending, doesn't make sense. If the whole timeline splits off into a different thing, then how is he showing back up in the present? And what does that mean for Peggy Carter and everything she's accomplished? And we're just not dealing with the consequences of these things. And I understand to some extent that like part of the fun of these movies is that it just goes all in on ridiculous concepts without over-explaining them, because over-explaining is a problem. But I think there's a balance to be made in between explaining things and not explaining things.
Pretty, isn't it? Perfectly balanced.
There has to be a happy medium where it kind of makes sense, where we're not left with these humongous questions. I appreciate some of the hand-waving that this film does, but I think it goes 3 or 4 steps too far. Anyway, those are my gripes about a movie that I genuinely like and might actually watch again sometime later this week when all the cinemas aren't sold out. Thanks for joining us, I guess. Like and subscribe, leave a comment, argue with me about this, because I know I'm the terrible person who didn't completely love Avengers Endgame.
I love you, 3000.
Do all the internet things And until next time, goodbye, Internet. Thanos was very wrong. He was wrong, okay?
Bingo.
Wait, but who? Who told you that?
Star Trek, Terminator, Time Cop, Time After Time, Quantum Leap, Wrinkle in Time, Somewhere in Time, Hot Tub Time Machine, Hot Tub Time Machine, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Basically, any movie that deals with time travel.
Die Hard? No, that's not one.
This is known.
I don't know why everyone believes that, but that isn't true.